Hello everyone, so another Wolves FC update. Again, they're coming daily at the moment. Today we're going to have an update on Jorgen Strand Larsen. There's another team interested, so many now. A Muller Wolf update and a Roma, and an update on a bloke I've spoken about before from Basel, a forward. Now let's start with Jorgen Strand Larsen. I did a video, was it a couple of videos ago, where I was a bit confused of why everything had gone quite quiet on Strand Larsen. The last we'd heard, Leeds had inquired for him, and that was it. But as we know, he's been linked with Leeds, Palace, Everton, West Ham at one point, Newcastle, Spurs. But now, another team that are apparently interested, according to Sky Sports, is Aston Villa. It says Aston Villa are said to have an interest, but unlikely to meet wwfc's asking price, which is currently around 40 million, which we already kind of knew. But very interesting that Aston Villa are interested in him. But according to Talk Sport, Crystal Palace have held talks with Wolves regarding a potential move for Jorgen Strand Larsen. He's obviously, as we know with Crystal Palace, the big thing that's going to happen there is if Strand Larsen goes out, is because if Mateta leaves, obviously he looks like he's going to be leaving Crystal Palace. So we're still in the same situation there. I did speak about that in another video, but Matt Hobbs, obviously, who's now at Crystal Palace, was at Wolves, and he was the one who got Strand Larsen to Wolves from Celta Vigo. So obviously he'd probably really want to see Strand Larsen at Crystal Palace, and he's probably trying to get people to get in there. But interesting that Aston Villa joined the long list now. Again, I think it's good that Wolves are standing firm on this £40 million valuation. And if that means he has to stay with us, then so be it. Then so be it. He has to stay till the end of the season, and then we reset and go again and see if we can get that sort of money in the summer. But imagine Strand Larsen at Villa. That would be what a move for him, by the way. Honestly, I think if he could pick, he'd probably want to go to Villa with where they are in the Premier League at the moment. But right, let's move on to another player I've spoke about as well, or another recurring story. Kalvin Phillips. This story won't go away. So apparently, according to the Mail, Wolves have revived their interest in Phillips from Man City. He's now fit. The two clubs face each other obviously the weekend. We do face Man City, and we've discussed a move for him because apparently he's now fit again. But again, as I actually said the last time, it all depends on the João Gomez and Andre situation. But Kalvin Phillips, anyone? I've actually seen as well people saying that we should try and get James Ward-Prowse from West Ham because he's really out of favour. But apparently he's in talks to go to Burnley. So if for some reason we don't get Kalvin Phillips, I don't see why we couldn't go for someone like James Ward-Prowse and see some free kicks be bent in the top corner for the rest of the season. But that's the latest on Kalvin Phillips. We're still interested, as we were a few weeks ago. Now, just a quick update on Agbadou as well. We're in a similar situation to the video I did the other day. The last we'd heard is that he'd had a meeting with Wolves. He'd informed them he wants to leave. He don't want to play for Wolves anymore. He wants to go to Besiktas. Wolves are standing firm. And the BBC have actually done an update on this. I don't want to... Nick... His actual name, I promise you, his name is Nick Mashita, the football report from the BBC. I shouldn't laugh, that's just his name. But yeah, he's reported that Besiktas are yet to meet Wolves' £17 million. Obviously, when I talk about this, I do talk in euros sometimes. €20 million is about £17.5 million. That's what I've heard that Wolves want. £17 million is what the BBC are reporting is that Wolves want off Besiktas for Agbadou. But the Turkish side's latest offer, which was rejected, was £13 million for Agbadou, and Wolves are standing firm. So until they get closer to that £17.5 million target, Agbadou will still be here. But at time of recording on this afternoon on Thursday, that's where we're at. When you're watching this, he may have already joined them. I don't know. Now, next up, David Muller Wolf, Muller Wolfe. There's links with him. It's been quiet on him, hasn't it? I just thought he'd stay to the end of the season, if I'm honest. But obviously, he's second fiddle to Hugo Bueno. He's got the World Cup coming up with Norway, so he probably wants to be playing. But according to Dagi Roma TV, they've covered that Roma are interested in signing David Muller Wolf. They're reporting that they believe that a move is taking shape with the Italian club drawing up a strategy for a transfer. Roma see Muller Wolf as a modern-day fullback, and he's liked for his versatile nature. This is because he can also effectively play at wing-back, which is what manager Gian Piero Gasparini wants for his system. So, yeah, I've only seen this in one place, so take this with a pinch of salt, but according to that outlet over in Italy, Roma want David Muller Wolf, so just keep an eye on that one. It may be, again, it may be one where he goes in the summer, but with the World Cup coming up, maybe something could happen over the next 10 days for him to go to Italy. Also, in a story of a striker, I did see this and I was going to talk about it, but I didn't. But I'm going to just mention it here. But Wolves reportedly failed with an attempt to sign Monterrey forward German Bertarami. He's 27. He plays for Mexico, but he was born in Argentina. And why that is relevant is because despite us putting a bid in for him, in a formal bid, the player is set to join Inter Miami after being convinced directly by Lionel Messi. Now, if you're born in Argentina and Messi's saying, come to my club, I mean, you've got no hope, have you? He's definitely going to go there. Miami, Wolverhampton, yeah. He has 50 goals and 140 nats for Monterrey, so he's a killer, obviously very clinical. But as I say, yeah, he's born in Argentina, so he's going to pick Inter Miami, so one that got away there. Talking of forwards, Atelli. I spoke about Atelli a few videos ago. A winger slash forward, completely very versatile player from Basel. Wolves have discussed, this is according to the BBC again, Nick Mashita's back again, but there's an update. So before we just knew that they wanted in excess of €7 million, but according to Nick Mashita, Wolves have discussed the conditions required to sign the Basel winger in January. The 26-year-old is keen to move to the Premier League and personal terms are not expected to be an issue despite reports. Interest from both Celtic and Lazio want him too, along with us. And the BBC is saying that Basel are asking for around £7 million, but Wolves have explored a loan with an option structure that would include a loan fee for Wolves. Any move could depend on player sales in a highly uncertain transfer window. And obviously, yeah, with relegation to the Championship looming, we've got to be careful. But he got 17 goals and 7 assists in 51 appearances since joining the reigning Swiss champions last season. So, yeah, we clearly want this Atelli guy from Basel. So we could be getting him on loan with an option to buy in this January. So he could be one of the ones that come in towards the end, especially with players leaving. But yeah, that's the updates today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, still things a bit slow, but I've got a feeling over the next 10 days we'll at least see one new person in, please, because we've already lost Venezia, we've already lost Hoover, although Pedro Lima effectively replaced Hoover. But yeah, please like the video, please subscribe if you're new, and yeah, comment your thoughts down below on the latest news, and I appreciate you watching. Cheers, everyone.